It's Sunday night. You're lying in bed, phone on your chest, and that slow dread starts creeping in. Monday is coming. But then you catch yourself. You think, come on, be grateful. A lot of people don't even have a job. And just like that, you talk yourself out of it. Sound familiar? Here's what nobody tells you. That thought, that little guilt trip you give yourself every time you consider asking for more, it's not humility. It's not wisdom. It's costing you $20,000 a year. And I'm going to prove it to you in the next 10 minutes with math, psychology, and a story you're going to recognize immediately. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're never going to look at job gratitude the same way again. Let's start with what I call the gratitude trap. Here's how it works. You land a job in a major city. New York, Chicago, LA, Houston. The salary feels solid. Maybe it's $75,000. Maybe it's $90,000. You worked hard to get there. Your parents are proud. Your college roommate is still freelancing. So you feel grateful. And gratitude is beautiful. I'm not here to kill gratitude. But there is a specific version of gratitude, a weaponized version that your employer, your culture, and honestly, even your family has been feeding you. And it goes like this. You should be thankful you even have this. The moment you internalize that sentence, you stop negotiating, you stop researching, you stop looking, you stop asking, and the market moves on without you. Here's the data that should wake you up. According to multiple compensation studies, employees who stay at the same company for 2 or more years without renegotiating earn, on average, 50% less over their lifetime than those who switch roles or actively negotiate raises. 50%. Now narrow that down. If you're making $80,000 a year in a Tier 1 city and you've been grateful for 2 years without a real raise, you've likely left $20,000 to $40,000 on the table, not lifetime, per year. That's not a rounding error. That's a down payment. That's a college fund. That's financial freedom you handed back because you felt guilty for wanting more. Now here's where it gets darker, because your employer actually knows this about you, and they're counting on it. Let's talk about what happens inside corporate HR departments in cities like San Francisco and New York. When a company posts a new job opening for a role that already exists, a role you're currently doing, they budget 10 to 20% higher than what current employees in that role are paid. Why? Because that's what the market demands to attract new talent. But here's the game. They never come to you and say, hey, we'd need to pay $97,000 to hire someone new for your job, so here's $95,000. No, they just don't tell you. They let you keep showing up for $78,000. Grateful, reliable, not rocking the boat. There's even a term for this in HR circles. It's called salary compression. It's when new hires make more than long-tenured employees. It's not an accident, it's a feature of the system, and your gratitude is the engine that keeps it running. Think about the people you know in Chicago or Austin who jumped ship, took a new job at a 25% increase, and then 6 months later, their old company offered them even more to come back. That's not a coincidence. That's the moment the company realized you knew your worth. The job market in Tier 1 cities rewards movement. It punishes stillness. And thankfulness for what you have is the single most effective emotion to keep talented people still. But wait, what if you actually love your job? What if your boss is genuinely great? Does this still apply to you? Yes, maybe even more so. Here's why. Okay, let's be real. Some of you watching this have legitimately good jobs. Good culture, decent boss, flexible hours. You're in Seattle or Boston working hybrid, and life is pretty okay. This is for you, because the gratitude trap hits hardest when things are genuinely good. Here's the psychological mechanism at work. It's called loss aversion, and it's one of the most well-documented biases in behavioral economics. Humans feel the pain of losing something twice as intensely as the pleasure of gaining something equivalent. So, when you're comfortable and happy, the thought of negotiating, of potentially creating tension, of risking the good vibe feels riskier than it actually is. Your brain inflates the downside. The result? You don't ask for the raise. You don't take the recruiter call. You dismiss the LinkedIn message because, hey, you've got a good thing going. Meanwhile, your college friend who works at a company with a toxic culture, she's been job hopping every 18 months, compounding her salary each time. She's at $140,000. You're at $88,000. And she's arguably less happy at work, but she's building wealth. This is the good job illusion, the idea that workplace happiness and financial optimization are the same thing. They are not. You can have both, but only if you advocate for yourself, even when things are comfortable. The market doesn't care how much you enjoy your Tuesday team stand-up. So what do you actually do about this? I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow. I'm telling you to do 3 specific things, and the first one takes less than 20 minutes. Let's get tactical. Here's the 3-step framework I call Know, Show, Go. Step 1. Know. Before your next one-on-one with your manager, spend 20 minutes on levels.fyi, Glassdoor, LinkedIn salary, and pay scale. Search your exact title, your city, your experience level. Get 3 data points. That number you find, that's your market rate. If your salary is more than 10% below it, you are being underpaid. Full stop. That's not opinion. That's data. Step 2. Show. Build what I call a value receipt, a 1-page document that itemizes what you've contributed since your last review or raise. Revenue influenced, problem solved, projects shipped, time saved. Put dollar amounts where possible. This isn't arrogance. This is the language business speaks. Walk into your conversation with receipts, not feelings. Step 3. Go. Have the conversation. Use this exact framing. Based on my research and the value I've added, I'd like to discuss bringing my compensation in line with market rate. That's it. No apology. No, I just feel like maybe, possibly. No. State it cleanly. And here's the critical part. If the answer is no, with no clear path forward, that's not your cue to get emotional. That's your cue to start looking. Quietly, respectfully, but actively. Because the job market in Tier 1 cities, New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, Seattle, Boston, DC, is still moving. Roles are being filled. Salaries are being offered. And the only thing standing between you and your next $20,000 is the story you're telling yourself about why you should be grateful for where you already are. One last thing before I wrap, and this is the part most career advice completely ignores. I want to end with this, because I don't want you to walk away thinking gratitude itself is the enemy. Gratitude for the experience you've gained? Powerful. Gratitude for the skills you've built? Essential. Gratitude for the relationships at work? Real and meaningful. But gratitude as a ceiling? As a reason to stop growing, stop asking, stop advocating for yourself? That's not gratitude. That's surrender with a positive spin. The most successful professionals in America's biggest cities didn't get there by being grateful for whatever they were given. They got there by knowing their worth, asking for it clearly, and not apologizing for the ask. You're allowed to love your job and want more money. You're allowed to appreciate your team and expect fair compensation. These are not contradictions. So the next time that Sunday night dread creeps in and you start to talk yourself out of wanting more, remember this. Wanting more isn't ingratitude, it's self-respect. And self-respect, that's worth at least $20,000 a year. If this hit different, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And see you next week. Like, subscribe, and comment what's stopping you from asking for more.